Your words shape your reality. All of your words, they shape the reality that you have, that you see, that you observe around you. You know, as I was coming outside and thinking about this, I think about my past and how I've always been told that one way or another. You know, I used to have a very negative mindset. I used to, or a very defeatist mindset. I would say things are over before they actually even begun, right? I would say, oh, I can't do this. Oh, I won't be able to do this. I'll never have this happen, right? Very defeatist, very admitting defeat so early, so quickly, right? That's the kind of person that I was, right? I did that a lot as a kid, and I see how much it has affected me, reflecting back on it. But I said earlier, I was told one way or another that words shape your reality, because I was told by, my mom, my grandmas as well, stop saying you can't do this, stop saying that, or, oh, why are you always so negative, right? Can't you try to be positive for once? Right? And it took me it took me years to even actually understand just how much weight that had, those messages that they told me had on me, because I've started being, I've started changing my self-talk. I've gone through a lot of internal work to really understand why it is that I behave in certain ways, and to try to change that for my own betterment, because I wanted to be the best version of myself that I could be, right? And part of that meant that I needed to change how I was talking to myself. So yeah, one thing that I say to myself almost every day, sometimes I forget, is, especially recently on my journey, is that success comes inevitably for me, right? I speak those words into my reality, and I hold them to be true, because that's what I'm saying. I used to have no idea where I was gonna go. I used to have very little belief in how I was going to go in my role in this world, right? I didn't believe in myself at all. I was very it is what it is kind of thing. I used to, as sad as it is, I used to fantasize about just not being here, really not being here at all, man. It's kind of crazy. Hold up, my bad, where was I? Yeah, I used to fantasize about not really being here at all, because I was just so caught up in my head. I internalized a lot of the chaos that was going on around my life, and so I didn't really see a future for myself. But as soon as I started speaking to myself, I started speaking, success will come. Success will come inevitably for me. It is going to happen no matter what happens to me, right? I started, seeing just general positive uptakes in my life, right? My physical health, my mental health, my financial health. I've broken down a lot of limitations that I've had. I've changed a lot of meanings of words. One of those things, money, right? We talk about, I have a lot of money, or I don't have any money, or blah blah blah, right? And I used to be in a similar boat. I used to always tell myself, I'm poor, or oh man, I don't have a lot of money, or I used to have more money, or whatever. This is just an example of how what you say to yourself, changes your reality. And so I started, instead of worrying about excuse me, like the amount of money that I have, right? I've started saying, you know what? I am abundant. I am abundant. Abundance comes to me, right? And I also started telling myself, in my affirmations in the morning, I'm thankful to never have to worry about money. And ever since then, I've not had to once worried about it, because I've changed my outlook on how I view money. Again, this is all just an example, take this as you will. And, it's like I've had to pay for certain things, but I've realized, just how blessed I am because I never have to worry about it, because I always figure out a way to end up getting things done, right? As if they require a capital investment, right? And I'm also blessed enough to have people in my life who do care enough for me to support me, right? I know, and I know a lot of people do not have those same blessings, right? Which is why I don't take those for granted, right? I'm very thankful, and I do my best to help out whenever I can, right? But this is all just tying back to what I was saying. Like, language matters. What you say to yourself matters so much. How you go about talking to yourself, how you view certain things, that all shapes your reality one way or another. It's very easy to get caught up in the chaos, right? And to think that, you're going to be stuck in this lower place. You're going to be experiencing, certain symptoms that you might not want to be experiencing for the rest of your life. You may feel like you never get out. And sadly, a lot of people don't get out, right? Don't get out of their unfortunate circumstances, right? I know this to be true, right? I've seen it happen with people in my own life. But what I can say, speaking from my own experience, the way that I speak to myself and how I've changed that, I've seen a dramatic uptake in, not only how I see the world, right? But also my different relationships, not with myself, with the people around me, like my friends, my parents, all because I changed, how I speak to myself. It's very, going back to what I was saying earlier, right? Being in such a defeatist mindset, that was such a reoccurring thing in my childhood, being told, I'm so negative, right? Oh man, I used to be compared to Eeyore from freaking Winnie the Pooh. That's how negative I was. Like, I was like, oh, it's not gonna happen. Oh man, we're gonna be late. Oh man, things are gonna suck. I'm not gonna enjoy this, right? That's the kind of stuff that I would say, right? But forcing myself to see the positives in every situation, forcing myself to really be like, to understand what it is that I have that a lot of people don't have, and being grateful for it, and changing how I talk to myself, actually believing in myself, something that I never did before, right? At least not to the extent that I do now, right? It's really led to a lot of positive changes for me. I've said this before, right? Your relationship with God is your relationship with yourself, right? My relationship with myself was not good, past tense, right? Now, I'm working on it, right? And I feel like it's a lot better. I find myself catching a lot of bad thoughts. I'm like, no, that is not, I needn't think that way. Because things are going to be all right. Things are going to work out. Regardless of what happens, regardless of any setbacks that I might face, right? I've been injured multiple times. I've faced a lot of pushback. I've dealt with a lot of emotional challenges, right? But I'm still here. I am alive. I am well. Because I know that things are going to be all right. I've overcame a lot of challenges in my life. Overcame a lot, I have hearing loss. I've dealt with a lot of BS in schools, right? Teachers, my parents, my family, and friends and relationships. I've dealt with a lot of things, man. But I've overcame them all to one extent or another, right? And I just know things are going to be all right because I tell myself that, right? The language that I talk about myself, I talk to myself, shapes my reality. And so if there's anything that I want anyone to know, if there's something I want to leave you guys with, if you find yourself talking badly about yourself, right? Or if you find yourself talking badly about other people too, or just the things around you, I encourage you, take some time to really reflect on what it is that you do have, right? What it is that you are grateful for. And understand that there are so many blessings that you just don't even realize. But once you do take time to realize them, your life changes, right? And the way that you speak about yourself shapes your reality. Yeah. I think I've said, what I needed to say. I hope that something stuck with you, just my different experiences, how I've changed certain words, and yeah, that's what I wanted to say. If you're seeing this, I love you. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Make sure to take care of yourself, but the only person who can take care of you is you. And always remember, man, the way that you speak reflects your reality. Have a good one.